So, breaking news update for all of you just joining us. Well, the rain continues to wreak havoc on Group 1, and that's what the
Second match
that has
called
been
off
called
without
off.
a toss, both involving Afghanistan. New Zealand, Afghanistan at this venue was abandoned without a toss. And Afghanistan Ireland has also been abandoned without a toss at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. I think the Indian and the Pakistani fans all over the globe prayed really, really, really hard to the rain gods to stay away.
Yeah.
And that's why, although prior to the match, Melbourne was been pounded by rain, but on the day of the match, the rain god said, let's
nothing,
just
but-
have a bowl of popcorn and see the match.
But
which-
unfortunately, that's not been the case for most Group 1 teams because I think what Ireland, England also, it was a completed match, but yes, it was impacted by rain.
Yes.
Now, Ireland have had two matches which have been impacted by rain.
totally washed out, and this means that Ireland's gain,
It's bad news for them, very bad news for them.
Whatever gains that Ireland had over their victory against England has now been totally nullified.
Yeah, because if they won this match, then it would be a whole different matter. They'd be on 4 points.
4 points.
So they would be on 4 points, and it would have actually been. They could have been in with an outside chance to
Outside
actually
chance.
upset the apple cart and potentially make it to the semis.
Because what has happened is, because of Ireland's massive loss to Sri Lanka by 9 wickets at the Belrive Oval,
Correct.
their net run rate is the worst,
Exactly.
minus 1.17.
So because of their bad net run rate, their focus would have, of course, been on let's
They
accumulate
had
as
to
many
win
points.
this. They had to win this game against
And to be
Afghanistan.
fair, they would have fancied their chances against Afghanistan.
Yes, exactly. So that is why this match now has nullified all the gains that Ireland had against England because of that loss to Sri Lanka. And with this loss now, they are on 3 points, although second in the group. Their next games are all quite difficult because they will
Exactly.
take on New Zealand and they will take on Australia.
Exactly.
The Trans-Tasman rivals are going to be really, really a handful. But we don't know the status of the next match that's going to
Exactly,
happen.
because remember, it was supposed to be happening in the exact same venue, and believe me when I say it is pounding now. It is at a point where they actually called off the match about 10 odd minutes before it was officially meant to be called off because they could see the rain and said, yeah, you know what?
Yep.
There's no point. Even if it stops magically raining somehow, you were not going to get the ground ready in time in 10 minutes. There was no chance.
Yes. But unfortunately now, England versus Australia, the problem now will be if this game is also called off. Although the weather forecast is saying that chances of rain towards the evening time
It's
lessen.
done. Yeah.
So we might have a match, although it may be a truncated game. Massive game for both England and Australia. The winner of
Absolutely.
this, his chances of making to the World Cup semi-finals take a massive blow. Because England's next two games after this are equally tricky.
Exactly.
One game is against New Zealand at Brisbane on November 3rd. The other one, the final game, is against Sri Lanka. So both those games are equally tough. The game tomorrow, that is also in Group 1, is New Zealand Sri Lanka. That will determine who has a great chance of going into the semi-final.
Yeah, so because right now what is happening, unfortunately, and as one of our commenters pointed out, is that this has been the World Cup of rain and upsets. Couldn't agree more. And
more.
especially for Group 1, it's been more about rain than upsets. Although Ireland beating England, sure, but even beyond that, I mean, they've had 3 or 4 games now that have been directly impacted by rain, and you could very well see another one today itself.
Look at Afghanistan. How unlucky they have been. 2 matches, 2 rain delays, and 1 match against England, which they should have won after having really put England under the pump in Perth.
Yeah.
They just didn't. So Afghanistan unfortunately look to be all but out of the tournament because now their next 2 games are against Australia and they also play Sri Lanka. So the team that looks to be churning this entire group due to these 2 rain outages as well as the Irish loss to England, now both Sri Lanka and New Zealand might churn the entire group now. And Amit Khajuria, you have been asking what are the chances of India? Look, it is pretty simple. There is no rain delay expected in Perth. Adelaide, slight rain is expected, but I don't think it will impact the match against Bangladesh. Melbourne, as it goes on in November 6, the weather is clear for that day. So India's chances are not that impacted by rain. I will be doing a special explainer on what each team needs to do in Group 2. Because Group 1, we'll have to wait for the England versus Australia game to figure out what needs to be done for each team.
Correct.
So the equation is pretty simple in Group 2, where India is Pakistan are in big danger. That's all I
Yeah,
can tell you.
because they've lost. I mean, remember last year India lost 2 matches, and in the end, that was in fact the end of their World Cup campaign. In
Yes.
hindsight, you can say that Pakistan have now lost 2 matches,
Yeah.
and
Both in the last over and the game against Zimbabwe, there were two crucial moments which they will forever ruin this 2022 T20 World Cup. One, when a dropped catch in the final over saw them score about 5 runs.
Correct.
And Craig Irwin, his diving stop saved 1 run to prevent a boundary. All these small instances
They add
can
up in the
change
end.
the World
They
Cup.
add up in the end.
So Pakistan's chances are very dire. And India are on top. South Africa will hopefully look to end their 12-year jinx. And Pakistan will qualify. Rookie Techie, I'm coming to all the permutations and combinations soon in the video which I will be doing. So stay tuned to Sports Today for all those information. Unfortunately, Ireland now, their advantage is nullified. Afghanistan are all but out. Australia, England will be the determining match as to who possibly will go through to group.
And
to the
remember,
semi-final.
even that right now, there's a bit of a rain delay expected. So we'll keep our eyes out. You should too. And of course, don't forget to join us on Sports Today for all the latest updates related not just the World Cup, but from the world of sport. Thank you all for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that stuff. Tap the bell icon. And of course, don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.